Hey everyone, before we dive in, real quick, if you could just click this link here in the YouTube video description if you're on desktop, it'll take you out to TCGPlayer and support me with any purchases you may make on the platform, be it mentioned in this video or otherwise. Or if you're on mobile, you can also find it here in just the comment section. If you just go there, you'll see a link. Just click that. It helps me out a ton, and let's get into it. What's going on, everyone? Vampyr Gaming here, back with another market watch. If you're new to the channel, I'm Vampyr Gaming. I create One Piece content. I do market watches like these. I also do interviews with top players on their decks to help you further understand those. I also create content myself around the decks in which I play and just some off-meta choices. If any of these interest you, be sure to just do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It helps out a ton, and let's go ahead and get into it. So, we're going to be talking about, a lot of it's going to be this EB02, and to be fair, I said Gerpel Luffy was super good when I saw him, and a lot of people disagreed. Well, it turns out I was right. So, phenomenal. But, if you're unfamiliar, Gerpel Luffy has been taking Asia by storm, taking a ton of top spots, but also creating some interesting opportunities for leaders like Smoker and whatnot. But so in today's video, we're going to really talk about some cards that have been seeing some movement here already, and that you should also just go ahead and pick up for EB02 and just kind of get ready, because you never know what's going to happen, and a lot of these singles are still relatively easily available and affordable. So first up is Eustace Captain Kidd. I think this card's super playable in Gerpel. That's green-purple. Green-purple Luffy is Gerpel Luffy, okay? So I think this is super playable. I think it's a really good card. I think the PRB is a little bit cheaper, too. Eustace was once upon a time $40. He is now $2. Premium reprint booster has been soaring in price recently, and with that, you know, less people are going to be opening them. Less people are going to be opening them, and these singles are slowly going to creep back up because they had a huge supply added, which is great, but they aren't going to last forever. So, highly encourage you pick up a playset if you haven't in the many times I've mentioned this card already. And then same thing here. Best bet is really to get the deck, but sometimes the deck is very expensive. If you can find a brick of just this no premium reprint booster pack, great, no PRB, get the thing. But these have been flying, as you can see here. Over 200 sold, almost 500 sold the past 2 days. If you're going to pick one up, use the link, YouTube video description, but I will also have a link in the comments. You just click that. It helps support me, helps keep the channel thriving, and I greatly appreciate it. So if you just click that link, takes you there. You can shop these. But yeah, so we've got Zoro, an insane amount of sales, still a decent amount, but you play 4 of this, and you're going to play 4 Usohachi. Usohachi also climbing up from what was once $2, now is $8, which is absolutely crazy to me. I still can't wrap my head around this. I don't know what I'd do if I didn't pick up my Luffy decks. Shout out the people who offered to help me do that as well. But yeah, so Usohachi is now an $8 single, which just tells me there's a lot of room for Zoro. Luffy Taro is a bit less played. You know, the deck is still in discovery mode, and we'll continue to discover it once it comes here to the west. But Zoro is a good card, and it's only $1. Whereas Usohachi is $8, which tells me and this is a super rare, which tells me there's a lot of opportunity in this card specifically. So keep your eyes out for that. And then OP11, Sanji is still a very hyped card. You've got both Nami and the blue-purple Luffy. Being able to play this potentially has led this to being a $20 card. Price is pretty much stabilizing around here because it did go up to like 30. I told everybody to not buy at 30. If you follow me on X, I will make crazy claims like that sometimes. But I try to help people not get lost in the hype. And then kind of circling back, Gerpel, once again, green-purple Luffy. This Sanji, I've seen as a 4 of, I've seen as a 2 of. It's Extra Booster 01. You are in so much luck because this card got reprinted. but we're going to talk about that as well, the reprint, but you want to have a playset of this. This card, Extra Booster 01, we'll actually just take a look. Extra Booster 01, the rares have gotten crazy, okay? The rares have gotten crazy. We're going to take a look. We see Vampyr. Vampyr is $5, $6, $6, $8. Some people listed some for cheap, but it was sitting at $8. And then you see Rygo. Rygo is $4. Weevil is $4. Finger Pistol is $7. I just got all over the place. Sorry. And then we go back here. He is only $2. The reprint helps that out a lot. This was just reprinted in your locals booster pack. Well, it's not like the booster pack, but it's your promo entry pack. And it is $1. And I think you should be buying these. I'm actually probably going to pick up 5 of these. Probably going to pick up a couple of these right as I push this video live. But if you do, link video description. But yeah, why? Because Bonnie, this was a tournament pack. Tournament pack. $6. These cards can get expensive. Don't take them for granted. In 3 months, this card is going to be played. You're going to play this in EB01 in like 3 months. And in 3 months, this will also be out of circulation. This is the cheapest one. It is very cheap. And then the next person with multiple is $2. Don't take it for granted. Pick them up while you can. If you think you might want to play green purple, if you're a Luffy fan, pick this up. And then, of course, the winner. I'm saying don't pick this up just yet. You can see everybody bought these out as Gerpel hype went. I didn't. I missed the train. I knew it, but I just didn't feel like it, truthfully. Mostly, I don't think you should buy this at this price. I just wanted to highlight it. If you have one, sell one. $25 is quite a lot, especially for a winter card that is like the top end of winter cards, and people are still currently winning this card. People will continue to win this card until next month. So there's a whole month of these going to be added to supply. And then once that's done, card shops open their leftovers and sell them online. So I think this is going to be like a $15, $20 card. Probably 15 after all said and done, 20 once we get closer. Now this, you can see here, big spike. This is a card you're going to want to have. People are playing this also in Gerpel, and the green-purple Luffy makes this incredibly accessible. This is a 4 of in the deck. If you haven't picked these up, I highly implore you to do so sooner than later, because as we get closer, I think we're all going to really be saddened by this until we see EB02 reprints, which allegedly is confirmed. We've seen wholesalers in Indonesia, I think, with the offering, but we haven't had anything like confirmed, so stand by. Now, let's move away from the EB02. Let's get back on track to some OP11. Katakuri, we've seen Kobe. Kobe is stirring up a decent amount of excitement, and the leader has a lot of opportunity. I think we're going to see the exact same thing for Katakuri. I think we're going to see some really good cards. So far, Bandai has said power creep is here. And once, you know, we've turned the decade. It's no longer OP10. It's OP11. And so now it's all about going hard in the paint. Because it's just, I can't explain some of these cards that they're printing to you, but they're going so crazy, they're actually printing reasonably good red cards. That's how I know power creep is here. They're actually printing reasonably good red cards. They've printed 2 cards in red that I thought were decent. The last time that happened in a set was OP03. And then the other cards are just insane. The black cards, forget about it. They're absolutely out of here. And I think they're going to do the same thing with Katakuri. Everybody's like, oh, Katakuri this, Katakuri that. People are saying the same thing about Green Purple Luffy. Do I think Katakuri is the greatest leader in the set? No. But do I think he has a lot of potential if they print the right cards? Absolutely. Linden's back to the cheap. People are playing it in Purple Luffy. I would pick some up. Doesn't hurt to have. I would pick some up. Consider once we actually get PRB confirmed, if we don't see any action in OP11, maybe you get rid of it. You know, do what you will. But I think for what it costs versus what it might be I think it's worth having. If you're a Katakuri stan, I think this is the card. Now, we talked about Kobe. Borsalino been climbing. And PRB overall. You see 11, 11, 11, 12, 12, 12, 14, 18, 20. Now we're at $28. So PRB, everything is crushing, but specifically, like, you know, the Admirals, Borsalino, Kuzan, Kobe's ability makes Borsalino and Kuzan both incredibly playable, and these are some of the strongest cards Black has, and they're both printed in OP02. How do we get here? I don't know, but these are some phenomenal cards to have. Kuzan, you know, it gives you a huge minus mechanic, and everything's looking super good. You know, you got Sengoku, can bring back either of these. I think both of these could have a place in the deck. Again, we're still getting support. We're still getting it announced. But if you think you might play Kobe, you know, if you're a Pink Mamba stan, definitely don't be afraid to go out and get you some of these if you're an alt art guy. But if you don't, I highly implore you pick up the cheapest ones. They're still like $2-3, $2-3. Again, PRB is getting incredibly expensive. Look, we're just going to take a look at the booster box price. I'm just going to show you the booster box price. Oh, this is actually a really good price from what we've seen. But we were seeing $220. Like, you see this? $240. $220, $240. People are going to stop opening these. And the moment they sold out incredibly quick, Bandai Card Fest, and if they do not have this in, like, the, you know, the pop-ups, once this stops showing up in the pop-ups, once this isn't at One Piece Day Dallas, I think it just goes up more. Once we eat up all the supply everywhere else where it's cheaper, I think it just goes up more. People are going to open it less because they're going to want to keep it sealed. People are going to open it less. And you're not going to be able to pick those singles up anymore. And then, of course, again, OP11, we've got the blue-yellow Nami, the yellow-blue Nami, whatever. We have Kozuki Hiyori, which for the first time becomes a draw one. So it's almost like it's a life manipulative flampe. Because when you take the life, you get the draw card, then you get to replace it. So then you're actually not losing any value when you play Hiyori, which could enable you to play the babies in Nami, which could make you a 9K leader during their turn every turn. A lot of opportunity here. This card got bought out. I mean, I wouldn't touch this card anywhere near this price. It was already getting kind of crazy. Now it's $89, you know, but that's what all of PRB is doing, sadly. So it is what it is. And then again, this is more so like OP10. You know, I've talked about this. I told you, if you bought this at $20-something when I called it out, sound off in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, I mentioned this card at like $26, said it's popular in BOA, and it's slowly just become $76. Now, I couldn't afford it then. I can't afford it now. So, but maybe someday if you click that link in the YouTube video description. But Red Rock, just to keep your eyes on. If you have one, maybe it's time to finally let that go. Almost $100, 3/4 the way there. Absolutely beautiful art, great to have, you know, and it's just the best, one of the best removal cards ever printed in blue. And then top end formats like, you know, we see with Blackbeard, it really, really shines. Now this one, you know, I think it's an okay time to pick up Magellan again. Wasn't reprinted in the first PRB, so he's an unreprinted super rare. If/when, you know, Enel got a lot more cards, they're not playing the Searcher event, but they got a new when attacking Enel. And as we continue the discovery phase going into OP11, I think Magellan, if Purple Luffy, like you play this to play against Enel. And it's a really good card. Will it ever see play again? Who knows? I don't like it at 5, but I like it a lot more at like 4. If you don't have a play set, again, an unreprinted super rare, probably just not going to be reprinted. Highly recommend picking them up. And then Katakuri. Again, you know, kind of just talking about Enel. EB02 gives you a new card for Enel, which really hasn't done much. It did a lot in like the first 2 days, but then everybody's like, oh yeah, you know, again, discovery phase. They're like, Purple Luffy is just crazy. So they play that, and he's just not really popping off. But again, PRB is getting expensive. These are going to be opened less and less. If you don't have a play set, again, I think this is the cheapest we're going to get them. So if you think you might play yellow, if you have some extra change laying around, consider picking these up. Of course, the alt, we see it here as well. The alt has increased drastically. PRB buyouts kind of helped that, but this all has increased drastically, whereas the regular one still hasn't had much movement, which is, again, one of those reasons. Usually one will trail the other. So I think at some point we're going to see these. Again, nobody's opening PRB. They have phenomenal rates, but nobody's opening it. So highly recommend you pick these up. Highly, highly recommend you pick these up. And as always, if you found this content of value, if you could do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. It helps me out a lot, and I will see you all in the next one.